Alright, so Replica Last Resort totally slaps. This claw is usable at level 1, it gives no base damage, but it scales the shit out of your accuracy rating, your attack speed, and generic attack damage when you're on low life. And the way we enable this is through the Petrified Blood support, which lets you be on low life as a life-based character without being super squishy or anything. And that's new to this league. If you want to just look at the gem, that's what it does. Beyond this, we're scaling accuracy, so we're using the Juggernaut undeniable node, and then we're using a rare boot space from Ritual, which gives you flat added lightning for accuracy, and then we're using Oscarm, which gives you crit chance for accuracy. It's clocking in at about 10 million DPS, and it's fairly tanky. I can tank most of the endgame stuff without too many crazy mods. I have Balance Resist on my Wise Oak, I have Fortify, I have about 2.5k life recovery per second, which is pretty wild. The rest of the build and the gearing is just about finding different ways to get accuracy, percent accuracy, flat accuracy, and then generic ways to scale LE crit builds, so things like crit multi, LE damage. The gem setup is pretty important, pretty core, but pretty easy to go through. So I'm using a Wild Strike just because I like how it feels. I'm using 2 Threshold Jewels and then only going with the lightning attack. I have a cast 1 damage Hydra Sphere setup, and this lets me do 2 things. One of them is apply exposure to lightning, and the other one is that I can actually trigger my attack off of Hydra Sphere, which doesn't help that much against single target, but in packs and ultimatums and stuff, and when I'm moving around and missing, it's kind of helpful to have that extra thing to hit. I have a Whirling Blades setup with Fortify and Life Tap, and because of the attack speed, you really need to have Life Tap. And then my aura setup, I have my flat reservation, so precision and vitality with blood magic or arrogance support, and that's because you don't have enough flat mana to scale the flat auras. And I also have a war banner, and that puts you at around 60-ish% unreserved life, which means you can't actually do anything, because when you're not on low life, Replica Last Resort means that you do no damage at all. So then I also use a Blood Rage to degen my health at the start of every map, or you can do it in Hideout, and that lets me actually do things before I go fight my first monster. My mana step is Enlighten. I need the Enlighten there, otherwise I can only attack a single time before I run out of mana, and that just makes it feel so much better. And then I'm running double totem. So I use Ancestral Protector, but then while Ancestral War Chief, you can actually use the same time as Protector, and that gives you a gigantic damage boost. So I'll also run over the path of building real quick, and it's also in the description if you want to just look at the link, which I would encourage you to do instead. Again, undeniable, super important, stun immunity, unflinching for anti charge generation, and I think this is the best defensive node on Juggernaut. It gives you recovery, which is great with Petrified Blood. The tree is a bit unconventional because I'm avoiding the left side almost entirely in favor of going to the right side and the top right side, and this is because I need 1 base int, and 2, the claw nodes are really good, especially when you need accuracy to scale your damage. So this, Soul Breaker's over here, which gives me Leech. My large cluster jewel is also super important because that gives me a power charge generation. And then the medium cluster jewel I'm pairing with it gives me Spike Concoction, which is, I think, the best medium cluster you can get for this build. It gives me around 10% DPS when I'm using my flasks, and it makes my flasks easier to use. And then the 2 other sort of cool jewel choices are the Split Personalities, and they give me flat accuracy and max life. And because I'm so far away from my starting point, these Split Personalities get a ton of value. I also have this Watcher's Eye, which gives me recovery with vitality, and then I think the crit flash charge generation with precision is actually pretty good because, again, I'm using these flash nodes, and then I'm also using Mark the Prey, which gives me increased flash charge generation, and it kind of works like an Intimidate because I'm always using Assassin's Mark and LA Weakness on my build. I have the 2 Threshold Jewels here. One of them does Corrupted Blood, and then a Lethal Pride, which gives me, I don't know, some amount of damage. I don't actually know, but it's not very good. The rares are really interesting though. This is an Awakened Helmet. It gives me something like 600 accuracy and then more lightning penetration effectively. The Astral Plate's also Awakened for Frenzy Charge generation and attack crit. And then the boots are really core, but I didn't do anything interesting with it. I would love to have Tailwind, but I don't really want to self-craft that. It takes too many alterations. My 2 ring slots are Flex Rings, and then the belt is super cool because I have the Uber Lab enchant on it, which gives me % accuracy with Onslaught, and then I'm using like the Silver Flask, so I have that. And this is Hysteria crafted for more LE pen. As far as the uniques go, this Oscarm has an LED corruption, and this was like, I don't know, 10 chaos or something, 5 chaos. And then there was a +1 curse, Marlene's Fallacy, to enable this dual curse. And then I've anointed Panopticon onto this. What Panopticon does is it gives you increased buff of your ancestor totems, so Protector and Vol Ancestral Warchief in my case. And this doesn't help you while mapping, but if you need more DPS while mapping, you're probably screwing something up with your build. This is the single biggest DPS boost that you can get on a melee build that uses double totem. These are my flasks. It's basically 5 offensive flasks. The Wise Oak doubles, and I guess that Ziri's Promise doubles as defensive flasks. And this is a bit greedy, I guess, right? Because I'm not running a Basalt or anything. But frankly, Juggernaut's super tanky, and I actually think the Wise Oak gets a lot of value because my resists are balanced. And these are my actual resists right now. All in all, it's a pretty solid build with really satisfying clear and above average defenses. There's definitely potential to go Lightning Strike or Molten Strike with Obscurantis Helmet, but I've yet to see anything come up on ladder that performs better than this spec. If anyone has anything interesting as far as iterations on this build goes, I'd be really curious to check it out, so let me know.